Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, want to thank you for taking a little time to join me here on Sundays or at your convenience. Either way, I appreciate it. Also, if you feel moved and inspired to pass this along, share it with your friends, that would be awesome. So, I think Puxatawny Phil was right with the weather. Sadly, there's a lot of winter weather still out there coming at us from all directions. We're pretty good right now here in North Carolina where we are. Other parts, sadly, are being affected in a pretty big way. And I know up in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and the Northeast, everything. Hey, Molly, they're getting hit, and and out west, everywhere. So that being said, let's just send love and blessings and peace to everybody in harm's way, that they remain safe and warm and make it through this without too much difficulty. And there's Laura. Good morning to you, Laura. Happy Sunday. Well, just a reminder, I have the prayer ministry here to serve you. So all you need to do is go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com, and submit a request, and we will get the prayer team on it right away and send you blessings for the greatest degree of love to unfold on all levels. And as always, we have the Course of Miracles every Friday. All are welcome to join us. It's 11 a.m. And Mystic Jesus, our Wednesday book study, is in full swing. Maybe a little late for some of you to join, but if you really want to join us, you're welcome. Great group, loving every minute of it. And there you have it. There's all the housekeeping, as they call it. Well, so my talk today is everything is a gift, and how we can perceive everything in life. We either perceive everything as good, bad, right, wrong, dark, light, whatever. But ultimately, everything is for our best interest, and everything comes bearing a gift if we're willing to see it correctly, see it through the eyes of faith and love and peace, and inviting the Holy Spirit to help us navigate through these difficult times and see that there is a blessing in everything. Not always easy, but certainly worth looking into. So seems like everywhere I go, people I talk to, people are distraught in many ways. They're upset about what's happening in the world, and they're fearful. They're the state of affairs. It's like, what's happening, and how's this going to end up? And understandably, it's a time of uncertainty like we've never seen before. I will have to agree with that. And so that being said, it's interesting to see that some people I talk to are elated, excited, things couldn't be better. And I'm like, okay, they're watching the same movie, yet they're processing it completely different and having a completely different experience, how they perceive it. So what's that all about? And how can we change that? How can we find peace in the midst of great challenges, either personal or collective challenges? Right now, there's a lot of division in how we're perceiving the world. And I'm offering you the invitation to see all of this as a gift and a blessing and an opportunity. And it's not about being right, but how we have a choice of how we navigate through every moment of our life. So Muji, I love his teachings, and I'm pulling a few of his quotes out today because they're here to support what we're choosing to discuss. And I invite feedback and would love to hear from you. So one thing he says is, nothing can get in the way of truth, for truth cannot be found in any direction. It's always present as the core of your being. And I think that's so powerful because, what is the truth? You can't handle the truth. Remember that from the Jack Nicholson. I can't remember it right now, but happy Sunday to you too, Laura. And Donna, happy Sunday to you as well. So back to the truth. Truth is always present at the core of our being, because the core of my being and your being and every soul's being is eternal love, peace, our soul is not impacted or affected by anything externally. And anytime I try to look outside of myself and find meaning or peace or value or whatever I'm looking for, I'm always going to be disappointed. It's always going to be a challenge. But when I go back to that essence of who I am, he calls it the core of our being, truth is always there, and it's non-duality, it's peace, it's a totality of love. So we need to all set the intention, if we're desiring peace, to go back to that true nature of ourselves, and to not only find that or tap into that in our own selves, but be willing to see that in every soul. And so we're not identifying each other by accomplishments or lack thereof, or money or lack thereof, or relationships or not, whatever it is. We're just seeing beyond all of the judgment, the veils that keep us judging, okay, and just be willing to see that, say, okay, I'm willing to see love in everything. And ultimately, love is the greatest healer. In our Course in Miracles group, Lori, a wise soul who's in the group, says whenever her body, she's in her 80s, very young in her 80s, and Jane Ann, hope you're feeling better, girl. Been praying for you. But anyway, Lori, this will be good for you, Jane Ann, is she says when her body experiences pain in any way, what she does is she breathes into it and sends it love. So if you could just envision where there's pain or hurt or stress in your body or in your mind, send it love. Just bless it. Envision just a big pink and golden ray of love just surrounding where we're experiencing pain. And ultimately, love does heal. In truth, love is the only healer. That's the highest degree of healing there is. Well, last week I talked about, sort of the same thing, but I'm coming at it from a different perspective today. Are we in Armageddon or the Golden Age? Well, depends who you ask, right? Well, I choose to say the Golden Age, because the Golden Age, as I perceive it, and I choose to see it, hey, Donnie, happy Sunday, is I am seeing the Golden Age as where we all prosper, where we're all healthy, where we're all living in oneness and peace and unity, sort of like the Garden of Eden, where there's no duality, where there's a true experience of experiencing my brothers and my sisters as myself. And I don't see anything or anyone separate from myself. I'm not so tempted to judge. I'm not in fear. Takes a lot of work, because number one, we're programmed not to think that way. And number two, the ego wants to be right. But what's the ego's acronym? Edging God out. Constantly wanting to pull us away from, as Muj said a minute ago, that truth of who we are. So the ego is constantly trying to do that. And good morning, Steve. Happy Sunday to you. Well, Krishnamurti, he was a wonderful spiritual teacher, no longer on the planet, but his teachings continue to come in many ways, and they're relevant today as they ever were. And he says most of our quarrels throughout the world concern possession and non-possession. They are concerned with the acquisition of this and that and the protection of that. Now, why do we lay such emphasis on possessions? We do it because possession gives us power, pleasure, satisfaction. It gives us a certain assurance of individuality and affords us scope for our action, our ambition. We lay emphasis on possession because of what we derive from it. But if we become rich in ourselves, then life will flow through us harmoniously. Then possession or poverty will no longer be of great importance to us. Because we lay emphasis on possession, we lose the richness of life. Whereas if we were complete in ourselves, we should find the intrinsic value of all things and live in the harmony of the mind and the heart. So what's he saying there? What is Krishnamurti expressing to us? Well, it's not outside of ourselves. We're fighting, and all of our disagreements and our quarrels throughout history are on possession and ownership and ego identity, and all things that really in the realm of eternity don't mean squat, okay? So what we're here to find is that true essence of who we are, seeing the gift in everything, understanding that we are in a classroom earth, and every moment is an opportunity for forgiveness, really just looking at everything through the eyes of love rather than fear, and finding the gift in everything. And then you realize that when something comes up in your life that's not what we would determine as something we want or pleasing, you recognize, okay, this is here, so it's obviously here for my greater good. Everything is for our best interest. So Holy Spirit, what's this about? Show me how to navigate through this, because I don't like it. I think this sucks, and I don't like it, and whatever. But ultimately, if we have sincerity of heart and asking, we will find and realize there is a gift of everything. Well, Wayne Dyer, who's no longer in this realm as well, but certainly still very vivid in our minds and hearts, he says, with everything that has happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. So you know what? It's just the hardcore truth, but it is the truth. We can either see it as a gift, an opportunity to grow, or use it as a means to stay upset and angry and in my delusion of separation from source and love. And boy, we can do a great job finding 100 million reasons to stay upset and angry. And we can find allies to support us in that. But ultimately, if we want to be happy, we have to be willing to unplug from the illusion of separation and from external identity and needing my world to be different than it is before I'm happy. And if we can do that, then we're living in the greatest realm. And by golly, the world needs us. The world needs us more than ever now. This world is erupting, and I heard something interesting yesterday, and I find it to be so true. And I really want you all to pay attention to this, because this gal, Amanda Ellis, she's terrific. She's on YouTube. She's on other blog stations as well, I'm sure, podcasts. But she's a psychic, astrologer, and tarot reader. And she's just so good at what she does. She's a British woman and been doing this a long time. And you can just feel her sincerity. And she doesn't come across being someone who's mastered anything, but certainly has a lot of great insight and wisdom. And what she was sharing yesterday, which we've talked about in the past, but what she had brought up was that right now we're hearing about all these, well, we're going through, we can all agree to this. Good morning, Don, happy Sunday. We can all agree that the earth is shaking, rattling, and rolling. The eruption on the planet of extreme weather is upon us. And now the volcanoes are starting to tremble a little bit, and the earthquakes are, starting to rev up a little bit here and there. And there's a lot of stuff on Mother Earth that's happening. And she reminded us yesterday, and if you want to go listen to her video, it's Amanda Ellis. She's terrific. It's all of her videos are good. But what she says is, we're a part of Mother Earth. And all of this negativity and fear that we are putting out into this quantum field that I talk about every week, thoughts are things, our vibrations have effects. Every thought I think carries with that a vibration. So my thoughts create vibration, and that goes out into the collective field. So my fear, my judgment, my attack, my defenses are all making it more real and bigger. And so Mother Earth, with all this surge of fear and negativity and everything that's going on, she's shaking us up, okay? So she's reacting to everything that's occurring. Well, that too it can seem like, oh God, that's terrible, but it's an opportunity. There too lies a gift, right? So all we have to do, and really the main thing we have to do, and it's usually the last place we go, is to heal my own heart and send good loving vibes out there to myself and to the world. And that will calm things down. But, we have to be willing, be vigilant for God and God's kingdom only. Seek first the kingdom of God. I just read a brief paragraph or two earlier this week, some success coach, and it was just like, you want to have the keys to the kingdom, seek first the kingdom of God, let everything come from there. That's really the secret. And it's that simple. But we just like, as I've said over the years, something that Marianne Williamson said many, many years ago, and it was, well, I like the idea of surrendering and just let go and let God, but good morning, Martha and Jackie, happy Sunday. But what if God lost my file? What if you lost my file? I better take care of this. Well, I think we need to give the creator of all the worlds of the universe and everything that goes with that a little more credit. And we throw away the divine mind, the blessings of eternal love and peace for really nothing. This time we're here on earth is what I've heard Joel Goldsmith, he wrote a book years ago, Parentheses in Eternity. So we think this is everything, but our time here in this body, in this world, is literally a parentheses in eternity. So don't sweat the small stuff, let's focus on the real stuff. That which is changeless, formless, and eternal. That which is healing. That which is uplifting and healthy and peaceful for ourselves and each other. So there's a teaching, in the course, or a statement, and it is a teaching that says, no evidence will convince you of the truth you do not want. So in other words, we say, oh gosh, Charlotte, that sounds really good. I do want to be peaceful and I do want to awaken that giant within, that love within, and I just want to blast and bless the world, but I can only do that if this, and this condition or circumstance changes. Well, good luck with that one. It's not going to ever happen, so get over it. But that being said, we also are so tough about holding on to our opinions and not changing our mind. It's kind of like the art of critical thinking has gone out the window, and we're allowing ourselves to be fed lies, because anything that points a finger towards another or perceives attack or defense or judgment in any area is a lie. It's not true. But we cling to that so tightly, and no evidence will convince us of the truth we don't want. And ain't that the truth? But as I read here, this is something I want to share. We must always be willing to truly consider evidence that contradicts our beliefs and admit the possibility that we might be wrong. Intelligence isn't knowing everything. It's the ability of challenging everything we know. And that's, our programs, we cling to those, man. It could be whatever programs about health, whatever programs about education, politics, financial, all these programs that we cling to, and we're yes, I'm right and you're wrong, and that's why we're playing out these cycles of continuing fear and not really getting anywhere, because we're just playing the same tapes over and over and over again. Well, Krishnamurti says that a mind that is full of conclusions is a dead mind. A living mind is a free mind, learning and never concluding. So we really need to be willing to just shut the door on the past, be present every moment in love, and do the best we can to choose love in every moment. Greg Braden, who I talk about all the time, he's a terrific guy, great teacher. He just is so sweet and so smart, and just has a beautiful message, and he's always evolving and learning, and he's just like, I just wake up every moment of every day wanting to be the best Greg I can be, the most loving Greg I can be, learn things that can help and support other people. And, and not be stuck in holding on to my beliefs so strongly that I create a dead mind. And so, and I can say from knowing him that he does live that premise. And that's my goal. I want to be present in love as much as I possibly can. I don't want to battle anymore. I don't need to be right. I don't need to judge. And I just want to sort of go with the flow and bless it all and ask for the greatest good for everybody. And maybe I don't know what the best is for anybody. And really open my mind. And I don't have to be right anymore about anything. Do you prefer to be right or happy? Well, I used to say both. I'd like to be right and happy. So, but now I just would love to be happy and peaceful. And I want to be a presence of love in everything I do so that we can all evolve and wake up to the truth and understand that the truth is far greater than anything this illusion or this world is tempting us with. Idolatry, right? The golden calf. Ooh, this is going to make you happy. If you have a little more money or this extra degree, or you do this or do that, then you're going to be happy. Well, it's an endless pit. It's not out there. The true happiness is within. And true happiness means that I can see, I think when we get there is we become self-realized. We overcome the world as Jesus and others have done. And self-realization means that I'm observing the world and just blessing and loving all of it. And I'm showing up in the greatest degree of love in all I do. And even though I may have preferences and I may be guided to go down a path and to take action in certain areas, I don't have to make others wrong in that. I'm going with the confidence and certainty of purpose, knowing I'm listening to a higher calling. And I don't need to be right, and I don't need to make anyone else wrong. I find that when I've made other people wrong, judging them for their thoughts about anything, politics, money, relationships, or whatever, it was usually my lack of confidence in myself. Because if I don't have the confidence in myself, then guess what? You're wrong. So now, the more confident we become, we walk hand in hand with spirit, with love. We don't need the approval of others to feel okay about what we're doing. And that's huge. Good morning, Tina. Happy Sunday. So we no longer need to allow the opinions of others to determine our thoughts. We really just want to be open to the thoughts of God. That's what Einstein said. He says, ultimately, if we open up to the thoughts of God and live from that, then we're tapping into mastery and truth. And we're really offering ourselves to be of a really solid, purposeful beingness on this planet. I found this interesting. I'd never heard of this guy, Evan Meyer. He's probably very popular. I've just never heard of him, but I thought it was very interesting. And he says, we diagnose depression because it's easier than admitting we've built a world that's poison to the human spirit. Easier to medicate the masses than to face our collective soul wound. And good morning, Sue. And yes, depression, it's easier to just diagnose depression, take the pill, and than to admit that we built this world full of idols and expectations and judgments and fears, and that's all poison to our human spirit. And it's like how this is one thing, and I think this is the United States is not very good at this, is if you haven't noticed, and I think you do, every commercial that you see is, guess what? Medicine, pills, take the pill, take the drug, and they got people dancing and, oh, that looks good. That's great. I'm going to do that. And pharmaceutical industry certainly has a place, but we so easily want the quick fix. Well, I don't really want to look at my stuff, so just give me a pill. to fix it and change it. And we're just it's easier to medicate the masses than to face our collective soul wounds. So what I'm suggesting here is have the courage. Yes, if you need the medicine as a bridge, do it. Absolutely. There is a purpose. I am not anti-medication. I know it's here for a holy purpose. But, don't be so willing to give your power away either. There's changes we can do. We can live, first of all, bless our bodies. That's the number one thing we can do, is love our wounds, both emotional and physical. We can get good exercise and sunshine, drink water, good sleep, supplementation. You know what to do. We all know what to do. We're just too damn lazy to do it. And so do the best we can with what we have, but ultimately nurture our spirit and our soul, that which is eternal, because at the end of this lifetime and this body, do we want to continue? We sort of, our karma or our lessons don't cease to be learned, because our soul needs to learn what it needs to do. And the soul needs to learn, or we need to wake up to the truth of who we are, which is only love. And so we aren't going to escape it by when we're finished in this body. I don't believe we are anyway. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't have to cling to that belief either. So Eckhart Tolle says, once we have identified with some form of negativity, and this is huge, we don't want to let it go. And on a deeply unconscious level, we don't really want positive change. It would threaten our identity as a depressed, angry, or hard done by person. We then will ignore, deny, or sabotage the positive in our lives. This is a common phenomenon, and yes, it is also insane. And that's so true. We want to cling to those upsets and those wounds, and when we felt attacked and unfairly treated, and we want to just be so dramatic about, oh, ain't it awful, everything that's happening in the world. Well, it is what it is. You want to heal it? Don't be feeding it with all the anger and upset and hatred. Feed it with love. Bless it. Okay, Holy Spirit, how can I bring positive reinforcement and change to this situation? Not go down and protest against it. Mother Teresa said it best 50, 60 years ago when she was asked to march against the Vietnam War. She was not going to do it. She goes, her answer was, I won't be against anything, but you have a march for peace. Count me in. It's so important to shift that mindset. That's miracle mindset. Be for the change we want to see in the world. We're so caught up in staying angry and looking for the external world, the illusion to give us validation and meaning and peace. Not going to happen. So I love what he says. This is a common phenomenon, and it's also insane. So yeah, it is insane when you think about it. Why would I give up the kingdom of the universe, the mind that is beyond any robots of this world or AI, to continue the cycle of duality, separation, and suffering? Because we're insane, right? Well, I choose sanity. I choose peace. I choose love. And I invite you to do the same. And yeah, some days we struggle, we fall, we don't do so well, but we just pick ourselves up and do it again. We don't have to stay stuck in it. We don't have to feel guilty when we fall down, but it's just like, okay, I got it. Don't want to stay there. Let's move on. And the more we practice it, the easier it gets to turn it over and let it go. Some other thoughts, I'd spoken about Muj earlier, and he says the thoughts that arise in our minds have only one aim or goal, and that's to get our attention. Unless we feed them breath of our interest and belief, they actually have no power. The most powerful thoughts only have an influence because we identify with them and just instead of just letting them come and go. We don't need to be afraid of our thoughts because we are greater. You can be without thoughts, but thoughts can't be without you. We need to understand this relationship. So thoughts, what the problem is what he's saying here is we have this thought and then we attach like meaning to it, good, bad, or whatever. instead of just sort of watching it go by. Oh, that's interesting. Poof, just let it go. That's blessing. Just sort of go, let it go through us, bless it, and be done with it. We don't have to analyze it. We don't have to bury it. It's just like the old paradigm of therapy, which therapy is a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm a believer in it. But the therapy that's most beneficial is that which leads us out of the darkness into the light, which really allows us to close the door of the past and to work more on presence. And yes, sometimes we have to dig a little bit and bless it and move on. But we don't, the more we get into the emotional aspects of our suffering and pain and our stories, well, we get stuck there. And that's why we can't get out of this muck, right? I've said this, told this little story many times over the years, but the woman who ordained me many years ago, Barb Henshaw was her name, terrific lady. She was talking about our stories and how we, you know, we have the story of, say, our childhood. She goes, and you know what? What if you did grow up and you were poor and you didn't have any pretty clothes and, you know, you were barely enough food to eat and your house wasn't very nice and you never felt like loved or whatever your story was. She says, you know, if you had a crappy childhood and that's your story, make up a new one. It's that easy. Make up a story, and I invite us to do this. If you're stuck in your past, make up a positive story and say, oh, I had the best experience and it was great, blah, blah, blah. But how about if we make up a collective story of, in this moment, that our story is going to be where everybody wins. And there's no enemies. There's nobody to attack, nobody to defend. And I don't have to let the situations of what's happening or not happening have an impact on my state of peace. I can overcome this world, meaning I can just bless it all, love it. I can fully identify with love and no longer need for the external conditions to change, because they may or they may not. But my internal conditions are determined by the decisions that I make, and nobody can do that for me. And that's what makes it tough, you know. We're like that again, take a pill, right? Well, it doesn't work. It's maybe gives you temporary relief, and sometimes those pills can be helpful, but in the end of the day, the real change comes from within. So another quote from Moo, she says, to be in the company of those whose minds and hearts are turned towards truth is to be in the company of holiness. Don't hold on to any image of what freedom should be like or how your life will change. Throw these things overboard. Just present yourself at the feet of God with a big yes inside of our hearts. Say, yes, I'm helpless without you. Rid me of ego and merge me in you. I'm here for only this, and I don't know any way or path. You are my refuge. Come to the shrine like this, empty. So if we can just empty ourselves out and just be present and just say, the only thing I want is to be free of ego, to be full of love, and to bless the world. And I don't have to make wrong anymore. I don't have to defend. Just come in love every moment. And that's how we bring the greatest gifts to the world. The gift that we talk about. Everything is a gift. So all of this chaos that's happening actually is getting our attention, and it's an opportunity to shift from fear to love and to go deep within like we've never done before. So gratitude. Keep our hearts grateful in everything, what life brings us. Everything is in service of our awakening from this long sleep of delusion into our true selves full of life and love. Give thanks for life. Say thank you to the Lord. Say thank you to your closest self. Even if you can't see it right now, what to be thankful for, continue to give thanks. This will change your vibe inside and make you light, open and full of love, forgiveness, and joy. And in the end, don't worry, everything is in God's hands. It's all right and all is well. And isn't that powerful? And doesn't that make you feel good? Be grateful for all things, because everything really is in our best interest. And we can take the slow path, or we can take the accelerated path. The accelerated path is to be present, forgive the past, stay in our hearts as much as we can, as often as we can, and to plug into the voice of love rather than fear. And I don't need to be right about anything anymore. I can let go of my judgment. As I read on a church sign a while ago, it says, just forgive them, I'll sort them out later. Or just love them, I'll sort them out later. So we don't have to police the universe. That's a big burden we can let go of. So in closing, this is a great thing, a statement from Yogananda Paramahansa. He says it's a good idea to keep a mental diary. Before we go to bed each night, sit for a short time and review your day. See what you are becoming. Do you like the trend of your life? If not, change it. And I think that's so good. Just sort of go through your day. I could have done a little better here. I was a little judgy there. I was mad here, angry here. I wasn't very loving here. And if there's something there that you want to change, or you think you could do better, change it. That's all you got to do. You don't have to beat yourself up, feel guilty about when you made some poor choices, but just recognize it and be willing to heal and move on. Okie doke. So you are the gift. Life is the gift. Let's move forward in love. Put this to the test because it's really the only thing that's going to work for us individually and collectively. So thank you all so much for joining every week. I appreciate all of you. And meantime, see you next week, Sundays at 11:11, and namaste. Bye-bye.